It's time for your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network. This is your late afternoon Alabama forecast update. It's been a pretty active afternoon, especially in the northwestern part of the state as far as some showers and thunderstorms. We've had a severe thunderstorm warning, had a flash flood warning, had some reports of some hail in spots and a few trees down as well. And have also had some scattered showers and a few storms down in the southwestern corner of the state. Some of this starting to move over towards the east in the Birmingham metro area and points to the east as well. So we'll take a closer look, little radar tour here. So right here in eastern Franklin County, this is where we had a severe thunderstorm earlier, a pretty long-lived cell that just sat over the same area for a long period of time. So what's in effect right now is this, what you see in this bluish polygon, that is your flash flood warning that's still in effect because you got upwards of 3 or 4 inches of rain in some spots right there near Russellville. And so there was reports of water-covered roadways. There was also a few trees down in the area as well. And so thankfully that storm has now kind of fallen apart, but it took it a little while. Had some hail falling as well with this. And so you see now that that's moved over to the east in the southern part of Lawrence County, just some showers left over with that. A few heavier cells moving through parts of Limestone County. It looks like one's trying to cross the Tennessee River into Lauderdale County from Colbert County right now, but definitely not nearly as much happening as there was just in the last hour or two. Further down to the south, again, things have settled down a little bit as well, where you've got still a flood advisory in effect for the areas around Carbon Hill. You did have a few trees down in that area as well with a stronger storm earlier, but a lot of that in parts of Lamar and Fayette and also in Walker counties have started to diminish quite a bit. But further to the east, again, you're seeing some heavier showers still developing and moving east in the Birmingham metro. So they're near the Galleria and Hoover. We'll actually show a camera shot of that here in a second. You've got some right there on top of Trustful at this point as well, and you've got one right over Ragland as well. Moving a little bit further to the south, starting to see some outflow boundaries move out from the showers that are in parts of Bibb County. Those were around there for a good bit, but have started to move down towards the south as well. And again, not as much happening directly south of the Birmingham metro, but further to the southwest, have still a few scattered showers and some thunderstorms. There was a pretty good one there in south of Thomasville for a little while, but it seems like it started to weaken a little bit. A few down into parts of Escambia County as well, in western Covington County. But these storms in the southwestern part of the state have definitely not been as strong as some of the ones that we saw in the northwest. Here's a look at the Russellville Skycam. It's 79 degrees right now. Earlier, we saw some pretty spectacular lightning. We saw some hail from this camera earlier while we were doing a break-in for that severe thunderstorm warning, but now things have again sort of fallen apart. You just have some leftover clouds. You see, we did get a gust up to about 29 miles per hour from this particular camera during the course of that time. Looking at Hatton, looks like we've got a rain shaft just right over here on the left-hand side of the camera, and I can see some raindrops falling. So still some rain in the area there in Lawrence County, and Hatton at 74 degrees right now. And as we move down to Hoover, so again, we've got a nice looking storm there off in the distance from the camera that's kind of looking over towards the east. Notice we had a gust of 37 miles per hour. Now we're up on top of the Galleria Tower, which is pretty far up there, but a pretty good gust of wind coming out of that. You see we even had sustained winds around 30 miles per hour. Panning over towards the east a little bit, you can get even a better look at the storm there. Had a rainbow trying to form a little bit earlier. Looks like that might be it right there. So a nice looking shot there back towards some of the thunderstorm activity in that area. As we move down to Dozier, we're kind of shooting in between a couple of rain shafts here. Look like we have one over here, and we had another one over this way earlier, but starting to see kind of a nice looking some colors there as the sun's getting lower in the sky behind the clouds and everything. So that's a beautiful shot there. Still 90 degrees though. So a lot of those places where there's been some rain falling, it's cooled down quite a bit, but it's been a hot day out there, as we'll see here in a second. Dauphin Island though, the beach has been quiet and beautiful. It's in the mid 80s. It's not too humid, and so the beaches continue to stay calm, whereas we've had a pretty active day in the northwestern and western part of the state. And again, what we're watching for the rest of tonight and through this weekend and into next week, isolated afternoon storms. We expect those will diminish as we head on into the next couple hours. We're already seeing evidence of that in most of those areas that saw some heavy thunderstorms earlier. As far as the highs, we'll see low to mid 90s. And again, we've got into the upper 90s in some spots today. So it's going to be hot out there for sure through this weekend. And then higher rain chances next week. And we think more widespread rain chances as we get into late next week. So that's something that I think everybody would like to see. Looking at our temperatures right now, in places where there's been some rain, you can see a lot of yellow up there where it's cooled down quite a bit. 78 degrees it's currently in Florence. It's 80 in Hamilton. However, look at Selma. It's 97 degrees. 94 in Thomasville. You got 96 in Andalusia, 95 in Montgomery. We also saw that the Shelby County Airport, we're not plotting that on this particular map, hit 97 degrees and broke its previous record. So we are breaking records, and then we've also got some storms around as well. So kind of an active day out there for sure. Again, you can see the high temperatures that have occurred. You got the 97 in Selma, 96 in Thomasville. And so lots of mid to upper 90s, especially in the southern part of the state. Looks like Andalusia actually did hit 97 degrees earlier. Here's your future cast. So again, showing some of those showers and thunderstorms. They've been a little bit more widespread than what's being depicted here by the model, but as we get in to later into the evening, we do expect there still will be a few around high school football kickoff times. We expect them to be diminishing and still most places being dry. But again, if you're in an area where it's been raining recently, or you've got some thunderstorms around that you can see, you might want to carry some rain gear with you just in case there's still some left over by the time the game that you're going to starts. We're starting off tomorrow morning very calm, and as we get in the afternoon, we'll expect another widespread, isolated to scattered showers around for the afternoon and evening for tomorrow as well. But again, most places staying dry and pretty warm out there. And as we get into Sunday, we expect kind of more of the same. Hot and dry most places with occasional rain in some spots. That'll be fairly temporary. Here's your Friday night forecast. Again, for areas that have a few showers around or maybe a few thunderstorms around, you may still see a little bit of that to begin with, but we expect generally most places will be clear, and you'll see those temperatures lowering down through the 80s into the upper 70s. And some of those spots that got into the upper 90s, it may take a little while. It may stay in the 80s pretty much the entire game in those spots. Looking towards the south, that would be where it'd be more likely. We're going to be falling through the 80s through the most of the game and maybe not quite getting the 70s until after it's over. And again, there could be a few scattered showers in some spots, but most places, especially on the eastern side of the state, definitely have a smaller chance of that. Here's your college football forecast for a number of the teams in the state. UAB's traveling up to Knoxville to play Tennessee tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. kickoff. I expect to be in the 70s and 80s, getting up into the upper 80s by the end of the game. Don't really expect any issues with weather here. And as Auburn travels to Norman to play Oklahoma tomorrow at 2:30, they're going to be in the mid to upper 80s, and there could be a passing shower or storm, so that is possible, but also not expecting a total washout there. Jack State is playing Murray State at home in Jacksonville at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Expected to fall through the 80s over the course of the game into the upper 70s eventually. Possibility of a scattered shower around early, but don't expect major issues with that. And then for USA down in Mobile playing Coastal Carolina. Again, falling through the 80s over the course of the game into the upper 70s. Expected to stay mostly dry around there. All right, so we got the fall equinox coming up on Monday, on the 22nd. And just wanted to give you a quick update on how that works, basically. So you've got the Earth tilted at 23.5 degrees, as you've probably learned in school. But what that does is, because of the way that works, you end up with the seasons. And so you can see here that we're at the equinox, or we'll be at the equinox on the 22nd, where we basically are not pointed towards the northern hemisphere, is not pointed towards completely or away completely from the sun. In the summer, you're actually pointed as much as you can be towards the sun, and in the winter, you're pointed away as much as you can be, and so that's why you have those seasons there. But when you're at the equinoxes, that's kind of that transitional period where you basically have the same amount of daylight and darkness at all latitudes. So that's what we're dealing with on Monday, and that's, again, sort of the astronomical beginning of fall, and we'll, however, unfortunately not see any sort of fall-like weather anytime real soon. We'll still be in the 90s for the next several days with, again, scattered showers and thunderstorms around, but most places still staying dry. As we get into late next week, we expect the temperatures to eventually start to die down just a little bit, and then also have the chances of rain go up just a little bit as we have an upper level low starting to form nearby. And for South Alabama, expecting again to be hot for the next couple of days, minimal shower chances around and thunderstorm chances. And then as we get into late next week, we expect to have higher rain chances starting to nudge their way into that area as well. Well, that is your statewide forecast update for now. We appreciate you watching us on the Alabama Weather Network.